Okay, change the transition. Okay. If you're wondering why we did not do this for all the other speakers, because they were not aware that we are capable of doing this, and therefore they did not request. But I believe after this session, all the other speakers will be requesting for their video to be integrated inside their PowerPoint. It is also part of the new features of Zoom. If your computer is good enough, powerful enough, you can integrate your PowerPoint directly into your video. Here it is possible because the person in charge, Sham and Afiq, will spotlight my video whenever I have trouble. So then they will take the feed. As for me right now, I'm going to share the screen. Okay, so when I click share screen, I have extra option compared to other people. I got 3 screens on top of all the other option. So now I'm going to take second screen, share it. Okay, so what you see now is all the thing. Okay, now I see what happened to my control bar. My control bar lagi tempat lain. It went up. Okay. Very sorry about that. Okay. So when we talk about qualitative tests, okay, when we talk about qualitative tests, it's not qualitative analysis, it's qualitative test. So it means we're testing qualitative data. So when we talk testing about qualitative data, we're talking data like yes or no, boy or girl, Malay or non-Malay. That is qualitative data, categorical data. So there are various tests available. So among the tests available is chi-square test, Yates correction, Fisher's exact test, and one more is Magma. Okay. All these tests are different in the sense that they are originally created for different purposes. For example, the Fisher's exact test was created by Fisher himself for the purpose of calculating probabilities. But somehow the statistician drafted it in, adapted it for the use of statistical testing. For chi-square test, it was started by Egon Pearson. Egon Pearson wanted to test for goodness of fit and independence. Okay, so if you look up other uses of chi-square test, there's a lot more beside this. Okay, so this one is also for qualitative data. And then you have the Yates correction. Yates correction is when chi-square is not valid. Therefore, you have to use Yates correction. Yates correction is also known as continuity correction. Okay. Personally, when you run the test inside SPSS, SPSS will give you everything in one go. SPSS will give you a chi-square test, the Yates correction, and Fisher in the same page, in the same table. You, as the user, are expected to choose the one that you want to use. Okay, so okay. Ada sound ke? Kat sini tak ada. Okay. Sorry. Dah last ni berapa persen. Nampak kali saya kena minta dengan Afiq lah, dengan Syam, file Zoom. Saya punya recording semua tadi tak ada suara. Sorry for the interruption, technical problem. Alright, so SPSS akan bagi semua ni. SPSS will give out the result. So it is up to you to choose which one is for which. As we all know, for chi-square test, it is only valid when there is no expected value less than 5. For Yates correction, it is only valid for 2 by 2 table. Okay, and for Fisher exact test, also usually for 2 by 2 table, but of course nowadays with the use of computer, there's we can do even for non 2 by 2 table. Okay, let's go to the next part. Let's go to chi-square. So hierarchy. Usually we want to use the Pearson chi-square. So if Pearson chi-square is not valid, then we opt for Yates correction. If Yates correction is not valid, then we opt for Fisher exact test. Sorry, my mom. Okay. So we try to use chi-square first. Chi-square not valid, we use Yates. Yates not valid, we go for Fisher. So as you can see here, the problem lies with the sample size and expected value. So if there is no expected value less than 5, we can use chi-square. If there is expected value of less than 5, maybe we have to use either Yates correction or Fisher exact test. So let's look at chi-square first. So chi-square, chi-square is it's Carl Pearson, not the Egon Pearson. Carl Pearson's chi-square test, he came up with the first goodness of fit test in 1900. By comparing the observed to the predicted values, Pearson was able to produce statistics that tested the goodness of fit, and he called his statistics chi-square goodness of fit test. He used the Greek letter chi since the distribution of this test statistic belonged to a group of skew distributions that he had designated as a chi family. Actually, the test statistic behave like the square of the chi. Therefore, it is now called chi-square. It is the most basic and common form of statistical analysis in the mathematical literature. The data is arranged in quantity table, row times column, comparing the two qualitative data. Okay, usually the race is row, the column is for the outcome. Okay, so when we talk about chi-square test for independence, it is used to determine if the two categorical variables are related. Okay, so it compares the frequency of cases found in the various categories of one variable across the different categories of another variable. Each of these variables can have two or more categories. Okay, example, if you're comparing the diabetes mellitus and obesity, so the risk factors, obese or not obese, outcome, not diabetic or diabetic. Okay, so you can have that kind of categories. So example given here is about smoking. Are males more likely to be smokers than females? Is the proportion of males that smoke the same as proportion of females? So example, you are comparing the rate of smokers between males and females. You're asking, is there a relationship in gender and smoking behavior? Okay, so you're comparing the rate of smokers between males and females. So if males are more likely to be smokers than female, therefore the rate of smokers among males should be higher than females. So what are the categorical variables involved? Gender, male and female, smoker, Yes and no. So here are the assumptions: should be random sample, independent observations, but most importantly, lowest expected frequency in any cell should be 5 or more. Okay, so and this, as mentioned earlier, they are both qualitative data. They are independent of each other. Sample should be larger than 20, and no cell has expected value of less than 5. So what is meant by the word expected value? So you have this kind of quantities table. So on the left side, you have the risk factors, male and female. And the top part is outcome, yes or no. I think this one is for worm infestation. So the formula for chi-square is observed minus expected. Squared, then divide by the expected. So this is the observed. Okay? This is the observed. So how do you get the expected? To get the expected, you have to come up with the expected table. To get expected, you have to get the expected table. Okay, these are all the discussion about the test, but as mentioned earlier, nowadays we're going to use SPSS, so you're going to get your result very fast. Okay, so here's the example. This is the risk factor, this is the outcome. This is the observed value. This is the observed. This is the expected value. So how they come up with the expected value? Angguk, geleng. So to get the expected value for cell A, so here cell A, you want to get the expected value for this cell. So how do? You angguk, look down, 96. You geleng, 53. So 96 times 53 divide by 200. So for this cell, expected value, again angguk, 96. Geleng, 147. So 96 times 147 divide by 200. And so on and so forth. Okay. So that is how you get the expected value. Okay. So that is why the formula is observed minus expected value. Okay, and this is how we calculate the expected value. Okay. Why do we need to calculate the expected value? Because we are testing for the null hypothesis. Null hypothesis says that there is no difference of the worm infestation, in this case, between male and female. Okay, there is no difference of worm infestation between male and female. So if there is no difference, therefore the rate of worm infestation in male is the same like the rate of worm infestation in female. So if it is the same, the rate of worm infestation in male should be 25.44%. The rate of worm infestation in female is 70.53. So this is the expected value. This is the, so this is the expected value. Okay, I keep forgetting where to put my mouse. Okay, so this is the expected. So if the expected value, they are the same rate, 48% and 48%. So the rate of worm infestation in boys and girls are the same at 48%. If there is no difference of worm infestation among the two groups. So this is how we calculate it. This is how we calculate it. So my apologies, right now my scrolling text is affecting the display. I now have to find out where is my cursor. I'm going to get this thing go missing. Okay, sorry. Okay. So this is how it is done manually. But again, as I mentioned just now, there's no need for you to worry about how to calculate manually. Why? Because you're going to have SPSS do it for you. So the cutoff point is 3.84. The chi-square here is 1.303. The p-value is larger than 0.05. So therefore, there is no difference of worm infestation between male and female. So that is how we do the test. But of course, we are going to do that using SPSS. Okay. let's talk about SPSS. Okay, this one is all the manual calculation. We look at the tables and so forth, but it is not important because you can use the SPSS. Okay, just take note, chi-square is not valid if there's any values larger, any cells with expected value of less than 5, okay, and none are less than 1. Okay, chi-square is valid if there is less than 20% of the expected values are less than 5 and none are less than 1. Okay, so if you have problem with expected value less than 5 and your chi-square is not valid, what you can do, you can merge the cells to avoid the problem. Okay. In this scenario that I give, the chi-square is still valid because only one cell out of 6 is less than 5. So it is less than 20%. So the chi-square is still valid. Okay. So if you have problem of expected value less than 5, so what can you do? You can do Yates correction. So when you do Yates correction, your chi-square is valid. You are able to get the result for the statistical test if the expected value is less than 5. All right, that's Yates correction. Okay, so for Yates correction, again, the criteria is table 2 by 2, sample larger than 40. Then you have one or more cells that expected value of less than 5. And this is the formula for Yates correction. So all these are dry stuff. Why dry stuff? These are all formulas. Very hard for you to teach during classes unless you have practicals. Okay, so what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to show you how to overcome this problem. Okay, I'm going to show you where to get the answers to all these calculations. Okay. Right now I cannot find my sharing button. Oh, I touched it. Okay, so all these things are useless because you are not going to calculate manually. So instead, you're going to do it by using SPSS. So if you want to use SPSS to calculate chi-square, where to get the video and where to get the notes on how to run SPSS. The good news is I already put up everything online. Okay, I know some of you are not happy because they cannot get into the open learning yet, but don't worry, the other one, this one is publicly available. It is not blocked. Okay, I'm going to share the link first. Okay, go to openlearning.com. You type this address, tinyurl.com/fk6163 stats. Okay. Okay, this one is a bit more troublesome. Why? Because you have to go and click on learning activities. This one not like the research week. Research week got all the buttons on the left side. Here don't have. You have to click on learning activities. So under learning activities are all the notes and lectures on statistics. For you to learn to analyze data using SPSS, click on the last one. The last one, analysis of data using SPSS. So every one of these notes has got all the steps. So we teach you how to enter data inside SPSS. You have the notes on the left side. You have the video on the right side. So when you click video, I don't know what's going to happen now. Okay, you press this button, they become big, and the video become large. Okay, so right now you cannot hear anything because I did not set it to display the audio sound just now. But believe me, it is available and the sound is there. Okay, so I mentioned about chi-square. So the video on chi-square is here, chi-square. So you can click on chi-square. Okay. So inside there, you got the data set for you to play around. We got the notes for you to read, and we also got the video for you to follow. Okay, so analysis, don't worry, everything is prepared for you for free, tak payah bayar. You can share it with your friends. That is the same video we use for training the UKM student. Okay. So let's go back and talk about the statistical test. I got to stop sharing here. Okay. So now I'm going to go back and share back the screen. I know the questions right now, if we are going to do everything by SPSS, why do you have to understand why this thing is tested manually? Because when you define your thesis, you have to understand how it is derived so that you are able to define the results that of your analysis. Okay, all right. Okay. And so that is the Yates correction. So this is a formula. Again, as I mentioned now, you just run the software SPSS, you get the result. For Fisher exact test, there's a long slide there, very small words. Basically, it was just Fisher testing the probability of someone being able to guess correctly. Okay, and he came up with the Fisher's exact test. And he uses that to calculate the probability. Okay, and based on that, he came up with this test, and this is the formula. This is a formula on Fisher exact test, and it basically uses factorial. Okay, so that was the first Fisher exact test being done, and it is being used to see whether you pour milk into tea or you pour tea into milk and see. So Fisher exact test, the both variables are dichotomous variables. It should be a 2x2 table. Sample size is between is less than 20, or sample size between 20 to 40. But one as the cell has got expected value of less than 5. Okay, so that is how, and this is how it is calculated manually. Okay, but again, don't worry, SPSS will calculate for you automatically. SPSS akan kira untuk awak how to do it automatically. But this is how it is derived. This is how it is calculated. Okay. Here's an example showing about who is thinner, bus driver or taxi drivers. So in this study, if they found out the bus driver are thinner than taxi drivers. Study done in 1992 by Arwah Pro Idris, 92 till 94. Okay, and this is the how you calculate the facial test manually. Again, as I mentioned just now, don't worry, SPSS will calculate for you automatically. Why it is called extreme test? Because you have to create 3 more extreme tables until one of the cells become 0. Okay, so it is very difficult to do. Don't bother doing this. Jangan menyusahkan diri sendiri. Okay, why I keep saying the word SPSS? Because way back in 1998, 99, a girl came to me about the thesis. She did all the chi-square manually. It took her 3 days. I showed what she did wrong and immediately did everything for her in just 15 minutes. She cried. She said, "Doctor, I spent many days. I spent many days calculating this. Dengan anak nangis, dengan husband trying to get her attention, and I did the whole thing in less than 15 minutes. So my advice to you all, jangan kira manual. Please use SPSS or you can use Excel. All right. Okay. So this is the result of the test. It shows that there's no association between occupation and underweight for the facial test. Okay. All right. And lastly, I know you're tired. Chairman pun dah penat. Bila lah dia nak habis. So Magma test is like PET test, but it is for categorical data. It is named after Queen Magma, who introduced it in 1947. On my website, got this picture. I don't know why it's this slide. So basically, you're comparing before and after. Yeah, you're comparing before and after. For example, you want to do a research on attitudes of medical students towards confidence statistics before and after intensive statistics course. Then you do have before and after. Is it being used in other places? Yes. Contohnya mana? Pathology department. There's a lot of papers being rejected because you did chi-square when instead you should have been doing Magma test. Okay. So for Magma test, here's example. This is pre, this is post. Sorry, pre, post. Okay, let me try to change the cursor. Jangan risau, Chairman. This is the last set of slides. Okay, so this is pre and post. So as you can see, before the intensive course, 28 were happy with statistics. After the intensive course, 42 were happy with statistics. Although it looked fantastic, you can see that among those who were previously happy with statistics, 20 people, 8 people suddenly become unhappy. Mula-mula happy, lepas kursus intensif, tak happy. Mula-mula confident. Initially they were confident about statistics. After attending the statistics talk by Dr. Azmi, they become less confident. Okay, so 8 people. Okay, how about those who were not confident before? Before that, 150 not confident. 150 not confident. But after the intensive course, 22 become confident. So there's a drastic improvement. Okay. So based on this, you have to do what they call the Magma test. And this Magma test calculate the odds ratio by the formula B minus C squared divided by B plus C to get the odds ratio. Okay, to get the maxima chi-square. To get the maxima chi-square, the formula is b minus c squared divided by b plus c. To get the odds ratio, it is c divided by b. Okay, this formula is only valid if the b plus c is larger than 25. If it is not, you have to use the continuity correction. So here you can see the formula based on the calculation just now. Okay, since b plus c is larger than 25, okay, because b plus c is 30. So you can see that the answer is 6.533. So therefore larger than 3.84, therefore it is significant. For odds ratio, it is 2.75, means the intensive course good for improving statistics. So a larger proportion got better instead of compared to the number of people who got worse. Okay, all right. Okay, degree of freedom is rho -1, cos -1. This standard probably. This is how we check manually, and this is how we determine the p-value. Okay, and the result is the significant change in attitudes of medical students towards statistics before and after the intensive course. If your sample is quite small, the b plus c is less than 25, you have to do continuity correction. Okay, it's Edwards continuity correction. And this maxima is also used in matched case control studies. I know Zaliha mentioned during the class, you should get as many control as possible sebab you want to improve the power of study. For your information, the power of study does not rely on the number of controls. The power of study rely on the number of cases. So whether you take control 1-to-1 or you take control 5-to-1, the power of study stays the same because the power of study rely on the number of cases, not the number of controls. Okay, and the other thing is, if you're doing matched case control study, you cannot do analysis if you're using 5-to-1. You can only use analysis only if it is 1-to-1. Why? Because you have to do maxima analysis. All right. So if you're doing matched case control study, please use 1-to-1. Please use 1-to-1. Do not use 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1. Mampus nak kira. Okay. Doctor can use chi-square. Can use, but it is not correct. It will give the answer, but the answer is not the correct answer. All right. And with that, I think this is the last. Okay. The rest are just showing you how we do maxima in SPSS. And with that, thank you very much. I know I should have shared this thing out with other people, but the AJK tak bayar banyak lah. The minggu pendidikan tak bayar banyak, so cannot invite other people, more powerful people. I'm the cheapest guy around. Okay, let's see. Yes, Jefferson, all yours.
Okay, thank you so much to Prof. Azmi. So let's look at the Q&A section. I think there are a few questions.
Stop sharing. Yeah, stop sharing first. Okay.
So for the participants, we have got plenty of time left. So keep the question coming, and then we can give the rest some more.
Okay. Why I know what the difference? May I know it? Okay. May I know the difference? Okay. So anonymous attendee. I like this part. Everything is anonymous. Okay. For the first one. Okay, t-test, you are testing for continuous data. T-test, you're testing for continuous data. What are you testing? You're testing between two groups of people. For example, you're comparing the IQ of boys and girls. Which one is higher? Okay, inside my class, I got more girls than boys. So usually the girls will shout the boys. the girls will win. They say IQ of the girls are higher than the boys. Sorry, majority wins. Okay, so when we do the testing itself, for the IQ between boys and girls, we take the IQ, then we compare. The IQ itself is numbers. The boys and girls, two groups. So we are comparing the mean of the IQ between boys and girls, and that is the t-test. For chi-square test, now the IQ you divide become high and low. The IQ from the numbers that you got just now, rather than having the numbers of IQ of 138, my son got IQ 138. I had it tested. Malu apa ya? So when you have the IQ, you divide into two groups, high and low. But so when you divide the IQ, become categorized, high and low, and then you have the boys and girls. So you do a cross tabulation table, high and low outcome, risk factor, boys and girls. So that one you do a chi-square test. So when you are comparing categorical data, you're comparing the rate that you do the chi-square test. So if you're comparing the mean, then you do a t-test. Fisher exact test is when the numbers are very small. If you got 10 boys and 10 girls, then you do Fisher exact test for categorical data. Okay, so that one settled. Next one is difference in chi-square and maxima. Chi-square, remember the title is test of independence. Okay, test of independence. Although they say test of independence, what it means is the groups are independent of each other. The groups are independent of each other. So you have, for example here, the students taking the test for statistics. You test them twice. Okay. If we just testing the boys taking the statistics at the start, and you divide them by the gender, boys and girls, then confident or not confident. Then boys and girls left side, risk factor, outcome, confident or not confident. So like that, then you do chi-square. But here in this scenario, you are doing it before and after. You have an intervention in between. So before and after, in between the intervention. So therefore, the test is maxima. Because right now you got the confidence before and after. Sorry, confidence before, confidence after kat atas. Okay. So confidence, yes, no. After, yes, no. Okay. So that one we do maxima. So maxima is for before and after. Chi-square is for between risk factor, between groups. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Any other question? Tadi ada ramai yang raise hand. Tapi kalau raise hand tu kena minta host enable to talk. But I think tak payah kot. Okay. Okay. Alright. Kalau tak ada apa-apa lagi, you all want to break for lunch? Enough suffering for today. Hari ni boleh sembahyang Jumaat Hari ni boleh sembahyang Jumaat sebab dah ada 2 kali vaksin. Okay.
All right, so I think that's all the question that we have. So maybe I just count 1 until 10. So in case there is a last burning question that you want to ask. Right, so 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right.
Okay.
So I think,
okay, thank you. Bye.
So I think that's about it. So I suppose it's sometimes we need to be practical. So it's almost impossible for us to absorb everything in just I think things that usually been covered for 1 semester, but now we try to do it for 8 hours. I mean that's just totally absurd, I think. All right, so just don't worry. So I believe that long exposure of the drug can lead to tolerance. So you're gonna have 2 days of drugs holiday free. So for you to prepare for the next week, we're gonna have another statistic in research part 2 with one and only our professor Dr. Azmi next week. Okay, just stay tuned. Right, so I think that's the end of our module, part 1 of statistics in research. So till then, I, on behalf of the committee members, would like to apologize for any technical glitch that we have. So if you have any feedback, just let us know. So till then, thank you very much for your kind attention. Just stay safe. All right, so Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam. Okay.